Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is Joe and Jay Outspoken. You can find all of our social media platforms at linktree/Joe and Jay Outspoken. Today's show is titled Matchmaker Cults. So what the heck are we going to talk about today, Joe, other than
all
cults?
All of a sudden, we're going to talk about how we met. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
A little bit about it. Most recently, there was a documentary on Netflix called Escaping Twin Flames, and it shed light on problems with society today. You know, the desire to want to fit into a society that is just gone in so many directions, right? And it also follows. We're also going to talk about another documentary on HBO called Love Has Won, and this is more of a cult-like setting, but it really is the belief that we're living in a society that has people who love to control, right? And then those who feel the need to be controlled, right?
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. We just want to kind of shed the light a little bit and how some of these cults work, and you know, we call them cults. Facebook doesn't call them that; it calls them well, I forgot the term. But if you go onto Facebook, there is a Twin Flames. You go in there and you hook up, and they. We'll talk about it, but it's crazy, man. It's something to talk about. I always find it interesting when you talk about these things, or they have these documentaries and they're still out there. Like, you go to Facebook, you're like, oh my God, that's what they're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm so tempted to just want to join and see what they match me with.
Yeah, right. All right, everybody. Let's see who we can get Joe matched up with here in the next 30 minutes.
Here we go.
All right, let's go. All right, here we go again with another episode. Hey, and for those of you that are not subscribed or like to hit the like buttons or the little bell notification, just so you know, for us and other content creators, it means a whole lot. It doesn't cost anything for you, and it's just a click of a button. So, and commenting down below, whether it's good or bad, thumbs up, thumbs down,
Indifferent.
all that stuff helps. Yep, indifferent. You can be on the left or right or independent. It doesn't matter.
Or if you want to drop your phone number, we don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would send that in a private email, don't post it. So just saying. Yeah, because you'll end up on one of these websites that we're going to talk about today. So social apps and stuff. So
Joe and Jay Matchmakers.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy to think about the people that are walking around in society, right, that are your neighbors, maybe people that you literally work with, you know, folks that just have an everyday job that you might run into at one point or another, and they turn out to be somebody kind of insidious, you know, with things that they've done in their life or whatever. Yeah, years ago. So I used to live down not too far away from where San Bernardino was, you know, and they had the San Bernardino shooting that happened. And I can't remember what the guy's name was. Farouk or something like that. He was Farouk, I think was the last name. Anyways, one of the places I used to go to eat was just random place, you know. That guy worked for like the county health department. That's how he had access, right, to get in there. And so this place I'd go to eat at, you know, they have a letter grade on the outside. Yeah. And after the shooting, we all noticed the same thing. We're like, that's his signature on that letter grade on that building. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Oh, wow.
Because it was for the, you know, County San Bernardino or whatever. So anyways, just kind of crazy to think that there's your attachment to weird stuff that goes on. So, and even more so, you know, like we were going to talk about today, these websites or apps or anything like that have, you know, that folks are doing shadiness and you don't even know about it right in front of our faces.
So here's the scary thing. So according to this documentary, Escaping Twin Flames, there are over 10,000 cults currently operating in the United States, right? And a number of the internet based cults has increased since the pandemic. So what is one of the things that the pandemic did? It locked everyone down. So people were not socializing anymore like we used to, what face to face and things like that. We've now, society, the youth of yesteryear, the one that during the pandemic, they've now grown to be able to communicate through social media platforms now. No, we don't have that one-on-one connectivity. Like, when you and I were in high school and college and stuff, we'd meet people, whether at school, right, or at the local at the club, right? We used to go clubbing, right? You remember we used to go clubbing, right? So when we used to go clubbing down in Pompey's and all them places,
Pompey's, I was just gonna say that.
Or at the bar, you meet people, you interact, you joke around.
It doesn't exist anymore, folks, so don't try to look it up.
Volcano, that was like the original Las Vegas volcano, was right there, boy.
That place is actually physically a church now, so
well, after a night there, you needed church.
Yeah.
So anyway, people have gone away from that one-on-one interaction, that face-to-face interaction. It's scary to a lot of people. People have kind of become all introverts, and so they can't they don't know how to initiate those conversations. So everything's now done on social media platforms or using matchmakers, where they just take everything you input and match you with someone and like, kick somebody out. Like, hey, this is who pairs up good with you. And you guys just email first or communicate through text, just weird stuff like that, where before we at least started with those notes, right? Those little notes. Would you be my girlfriend? Yes or no? Check a box.
Yeah, you have to unfold it, pull here.
Yeah, we used to make them to those little diamonds and kick them off like footballs. Yeah. Anyway, we used to do it back in the days, and now clearly, since the pandemic, that increase on social media, internet-based matchmaking apps have increased. Plenty of Fish, Christian Goal, Farm America, whatever. You got them all. You know what?
Does that really
non-binary
exist?
Today? Whatever. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm making these up, but it's, you have an app, or you have or opportunity to find someone in the thousands of apps. You go into your phone and go to your app store and hit matchmakers or hit dating, and you'll see how many apps pop up. Wow. And there's one for everything, right? Religious based, everything.
Did you say hornets?
Yeah, I did say hornets. So it's, you laugh, but it's there.
Singles with cats.
Yeah.
Singles with cats. I'm telling you, that'd be a winner right there. So.
He's ready to mingle. You know what I mean? Anyway,
Yeah.
So because of that, people have, and you have to understand. So, for example, this Twin Flames, he's smart. He came up with it like, hey, let's put people together, right? So right now, this dude's rich. He's a millionaire, and because he's taking money from all these people, and right. Because so the Twin Flames University, or lead practices, right there, they're even offers classes for finding true love, thus the name Twin Flames, right?
Yeah.
Multi-million-dollar home and plan to buy a plot of land for followers. I don't know if you remember people like that. It's called what was that one? Waco, Texas. Ranch Davidian, right? That's one. What was the other one? The guy that killed thousands of his followers. In another country. It says South America or something like that.
Gosh, you can't think of the name of it, but yeah, I know exactly
so
what you're talking about.
that kind of seems like where they're going with this, right? They have little session courses follow to remember. So what they do is they start talking to you. It's almost like the Scientology, where you get hooked up to the machine, and they make you realize things that happened in your past that really never happened. It's kind of almost implanted in you to make you feel like
kind of like they're trying to implant
fake memories,
past life regression stuff.
Right? Yeah. Abuse, family abuse, right? So so what they're doing there is they're pulling you away. So what is one of the things that cults do? Is they any kind of support system you have with family, right? So
absolutely
they pull you away from that. So that way they don't have someone in the back of your ear saying, "Hey, that's a bad thing. Don't go there. You have us. We'll take care of you." They want to dissociate you from any kind of support system you have with your family. So they implant these fake abuses. Like they talk to you about like, "Oh, your childhood. Did your dad ever yell at you or hit you or blah blah blah?" I'm like, I'm thinking, man, I hope my kids don't get interviewed by these people. My dad would whoop my ass, you know what I mean? But
Dad was mean.
Yeah, he was. He did call me a jabroni. So members, here's the thing, members. So when you're a board member, an executive board member, you get paid, right? You pay to be to serve an executive board here. So this is where they kind of follow church, but they just with the tithe, they give money, but you're paying a lot more to be an executive, to make decisions, to be on the board of this little community of twin flames. Right. You know what I mean? So it's horrible because now you're abusing these people, and these people are just, all they want is to find their match, their true love. Wasn't happy because, of course, if you're getting income and you're a matchmaker, you're paying taxes still, right? You have to pay taxes.
Right.
How do you prevent?
It's a business.
How do you prevent paying taxes? What is one way?
501(c) status.
Nonprofit, right?
Nonprofit, yeah.
Or religious status.
Or religious status, yeah, which is...
So the guy that started Twin Flames, then slowly started making this into a church to avoid paying taxes.
Dirty.
Jeff, he proclaimed to be the second coming of Jesus Christ. All right. So people are believing this.
Yeah.
Do is they'd match people within the organization to facilitate transitions or like heteronormative couples. So like if you were like, for example, if you're a transformer, right? In there, they're like, well, no. There's male or female. So they were like convincing people, even like straight people, telling them, no, your perfect match is this female. They were like doing shit that was weird. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if you ever heard of there was a similar thing called a group out there. It was called Nixium, or sales, and they had all kinds of things, and they got exposed, and of course they went away. This is similar to Nixium in the sense that it was trying to give you matches with people, and even though they were not like remotely close to you to be in a match, they still try to hook you up with these people because what they wanted was get them and videotape them, say, oh man, we're so successful, and we've been happy, we're gonna get married. And they would, if you go onto their Facebook page, you see them now, like they're getting, they have pictures of married couples, you have counselors. Bro, it's weird to see. And I think what worries me the most is that people are so willing and so needy to fit in somewhere that they believe this stuff. You know what I mean? And it's scary because it's not stopping. And the more people invest in this, the more they're vested in things like this, the more in popularity they become. And if one app doesn't work, what are they going to do? Go to another app, right?
Right.
And so that's the thing that's scary about these kind of matchmaker cults, is that there is absolutely no stopping them. And are they breaking the law? Say, right? Because all they're doing is, hey, man, I'm just matching people based on the information they provide.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so you're not breaking any laws. They're willingly giving you money. You give courses and they pay for them. What do you want me to do? You know what I mean? I'm not breaking any laws, So they're hard to shut down. They really are. And that's why so many get away. And that's why there's over 10,000 now and growing, because there's no way to lock them up, or stop these kind of things from happening, which is, again, why we need to start one, you and I. And I think it's important.
I'm telling you, man, singles with cats. Oh, it's gonna be a winner. Yeah, these folks really have they put a bad name in for things like, Christianity is considered a religion, but I don't consider myself super religious. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like I'm not in it for the religion part of it. I think religion can be skewed pretty far away, because if you think about it, if you're Wiccan or Satanist, that's a religion too. So being, I guess typecast into that whole thing doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So these, these groups that have started this kind of stuff, because you have the big ones like Match.com and what's another one?
Christian Mingle. That's an actual one.
Christian Mingle. There's another one, Match, and
Plenty of Fish.
The other one, Plenty of Fish. That's not the one I was thinking of either. So I don't know.
Oh, you're thinking of like wholesome one.
Probably a wholesome one of some kind. Yeah. I don't know. One that I saw advertised on TV. I haven't had TV for a while, so. But
Tinder.
Really, people. So those are the app-based ones, right? Yeah. So you have the online ones. Of course, Match.com, you can have an app too, but they were, primarily probably started on web-based, and then they ended up getting an app.
Oh yeah.
Where things like Tinder, can you even get on that on regular computer? Isn't it just an app?
No, I think most of these,
the whole basis of it is swipe left, swipe right. Kind of
and I think they have these as app based, but I think you could get on them on your computer.
On your computer too.
Yeah, I'm not. So, I mean, there's so many of them. Like I'm just looking right now. There's just like Black Single Dating, dating app for Latinos, everywhere. Yubu, Making Friends, live chat, Cougar Dating.
Did you say Yubu?
Yubu. Yeah,
bro. Like Fubu, but
it says Make Friends, live chat, and they got Cougar Dating.
Cougar Dating, yeah.
And then they got Instinct, which is hook up and date. I mean, Grinder, that's a gay app. That's for like
that's the one you're on.
That's the one I'm on. That's the one I'm on.
I knew what you were gonna do. I had to hit you with it first.
I should have. I couldn't spit it out. Anyway, there's Tammy.
That's what they like on there.
So. Yeah, it's an LGBTQ one. There's just an abundance of. There's pure anonymous dating app, Zeusk. There, Hope Christian dating. Everything you want, like just umpy.
What do you, man? Yeah, see, you got to watch and.
Oh my God, they got a BBW dating, bro.
Wow. Yeah,
those are for the plump girls. You know what I mean?
Hey, everybody needs love, right? So
single parent,
this is
Asian.
This
dating.
is just
crazy.
This is only my opinion, right? There's really 3 types of people that ever get on these websites, right?
Psycho killers.
Well, that's the fringe, right? So the 3 major categories would be people that are just curious, right? And they're like, I haven't dated in a while, or my, spouse passed away, or I got divorced 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago, whatever, and I want to hit the market again, but I'm just dipping my toe in the water. They are getting on there, seeing what's out there, kind of thing, right? Number 2 is somebody that actually, my big toe, yeah. Somebody that actually is serious. They're like, you know what? I don't want to meet somebody at a bar or a club or something like that. I want to meet somebody, and thinking that you're going to meet somebody online, which here's the crazy part. I know a few people that have met online that have gotten married, and lo and behold, 10 years later, they're still going strong, so who's anybody to say it's a horrible thing? So people that are serious. And then the last category, which I think is the biggest category, is people that are getting on just to hook up, and not, they don't care about a long term. If long term works out, great. If not, they're having fun doing their thing, meeting up with people and stuff. So
I'm not saying these apps don't work, and but I think you hit on something good. Simple. And I think I'm going to break it down into 2. So I'm going to break it down even further from you. There's 2 types. One who's looking for really a relationship. They're tired of looking in the bars and things like that. Their luck has been very, very poor in making rash decisions using their own methods. And they're like thinking, maybe if I match someone that has more of the things I like to do is a better match. Maybe these systems could help. And then the second one is people who just want to get laid. And let's be honest, that's what those apps are for. Quick hookup and we're done. We don't want a relationship. Boom, boom, boom. So there's basically breaks down into 2. The ones that are really introverts who or have given up on the regular means of finding a relationship, or now with being so popular, the work from home, you don't have those social gatherings anymore where you meet people, right? So this is the only way, is your online kind of thing. And why bother with everything else where you could sit at home with some wine? I don't drink wine. But with wine and your cheese, right? And scroll through the internet and see someone that matches everything that you're looking for, right? And
your cats and wine and cheese.
Folks, look, I'm being serious. We're not trying to make fun of anybody. I don't like cats because I'm allergic to cats. I don't like cats. Now
I like wine and cheese. I'm not a big cat fan.
Oh, yes, you do. But a whiskey guy, a cigar guy, and I just.
And perros.
And perritos. But I've never been one to do apps because they kind of freak me out. Because one, people use, I was gonna say thousands, but I'm just gonna go tons of filters for those pictures, and you get, oh my God, I've seen them where you see this picture of somebody, you're like, oh my gosh, she's very attractive, and then you see them in person, you're like, oh my God, what happened? You know what I mean? Like, you were catfish, bro. You're basically catfish because people just, so many filters, you don't even know what it looks like. You meet this person, all of a sudden they're like a unibrow, a Toofus or two. It's just not the person you pictured, right? Or they use a Slender app, or whatever, or maybe a look a little bit bigger than they should, and you see them, they're like skin and bones. So it's not reality based to me. So there are those people that like, that's not my style. You can't really interact with someone over online. You have to, you could say anything you want. You could even use AImer points to get like a good speech, a good text, a good email, right? You want to hear how someone talks. You can tell a lot by engaging someone in conversation, where they're like, this bitch is an airhead. You know what I mean? Or,
well,
you know what I'm saying?
I think we've talked about it, I think, before, that, you're going to meet this person. So if they have this really eloquent, poetic, written, bio or whatever in there, and then you meet them and they can't form a whole sentence. They sound like Kamala with a word salad or something like that. You're going to be like, God, did you lie about that? And it's like,
community kids are community kids. I'm like, what did she say? Anyway, sorry.
Women that will put I'm slender to extra medium, kind of thing. And she's not, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But listen, ladies, that the guy's going to meet you at one point. And same thing with guys. They say I work out 9 times a week, kind of thing, and I'm 6'9" and everything. She's going to meet you. If you don't do those things, you're not as tall as you say you're not buff, you're like some skinny twerp or whatever. They're gonna meet you at one point. Don't lie on these things.
And you can't put on there, I love to read, when it's just the instructions manual to your new manifold, right? Or to or to a Glock you just got. That doesn't count. Those are owner's manuals, But they're gonna find out, like, let's go to the library.
Yeah. Just because you're reading the ingredients on your Cheerio box, that doesn't.
While you're eating it,
while you're eating your. That's what we used to do as a kid. Remember, because we didn't have.
They had games in the back, bro. We weren't reading ingredients. They had games in the back. Tricks had some cool games.
And we had to finish the box. You had to finish the cereal up so you could cut the box up to get all the little cutouts that were on it. Whatever. So here's a couple statistics, and this was from Vault.com. 16% of people who have dated a coworker, according to Vault.com, that's how they met their spouse. So 16% of the people actually surveyed said they met their spouse through work. Now, get this, 62% of workers, according to Vault.com survey, 62% of workers in the hospitality and tourism industry have gotten romantic with a coworker. So, so there's a lot of offline basis for stuff like that. But I think the online thing is taken off. And you're 100% right, man. COVID, that whole time frame, basically just called January 1st of 2020, the world changed, man. Like, really changed. People have gotten super weird since then. Just a little thing like a mask was just such a thing for everybody to argue over. And I have my opinions on it and everything too, but I remember being at the grocery store and watching people like yell at each other over that kind of thing, right? And so just things as minute as that, all the way to as big as things like dating, where people don't go out anymore. They don't go, and we're raising the next generation to be like that.
Antisocial, bro. That's
antisocial. Yeah. And they're and you used a word earlier, they're very introverted. So they don't have that in them to go up and just talk. And we're raising, I'm sorry, I don't have a better word for it. We're raising little boys to be sissies now, right? So they're they're afraid to go and talk to girls, right? And for so many years,
that self-esteem is horrible. That it's going to destroy them in the workplace. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
It is, yeah. Well, there's so many things behind that, and we have our men's edition that we go over a lot of stuff with men's anxieties and things like that nowadays, and a lot of that stems from that incorrect teaching in the home, in the school, and everything else, and how boys are being raised. You need masculinity. Toxic masculinity is totally
it's a made up fucking thing.
Made up thing. Yeah, exactly. So these folks are taking advantage of a social problem that we've created on our own, right? And so I'm sure this guy, and I don't know the whole story. You're going to know that better than I am. But this guy, Jeff, I'm sure when he first started out, what he finally morphed it into was not his original intention. It's like, hey, let's help people date and all this, and we can probably make some money putting something together and all this. But then when they start to see, again, start making money, not want to pay taxes, like you said, and all these kind of things, then the insidiousness in the background starts to kick in. It's like, well, we can get people, we can do all these kind of things because people are desperate, right?
Oh, yeah.
And people are very desperate for connection. And I tell you right now, as time goes on and you see the world go so much farther away from having a belief in God, and we were based around that on our nation, right? One nation under God.
Yeah.
And we're totally trying to wipe that away. Kids are like, oh, I don't believe it's a big fairy tale and all this kind of stuff. Well, there's that whole gap, that hole that they're trying to fill, and they're trying to fill it with all kinds of stuff, whether it's, dating apps, sex, and all these kind of things. So these guys like this Jeff are using all of that psychology, and that mentalness to take advantage of these people. And obviously it's working, right? Because I jumped onto the website. I signed you up just so you know.
Thank you.
Twin Flames Dating.
Yeah. I'm going to find mine.
I call you Joseph.
I'm going to find my twin flame.
I put your Filipino, so
I'm good.
That works for you. Joseph.
I look that way when I first wake up.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like a normal dating site.
But that's pretty much. But here's the thing that they use. So this is what they use: cold control techniques, right? So one of the biggest things they use is sleep deprivation, right? Because when you start getting deprived of sleep, you start getting a little bit delirious. You start doing crazy stuff, right? Compulsion, right? They have these books. This is going to help you, especially if you're one that's already antisocial. You don't want to go out there, or maybe even online in group settings. You don't want to do it. You're like, hey, I have this book that's perfect. You want to read it, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to buy that book, right? Because now you've bought into this whole thing that they're talking about. And you're like, let me invest, right?
Right.
Isolation. That's one thing we just talked about in the beginning, right? They isolate you from your true support system, which is your family. Your family's always going to support you no matter what, whether, but them wrong. And that's why we have so much trouble with our own family, because they think they want the worst for us, but then they see they're the only ones that are that third party from the outside looking in saying, hey, what are you doing? You don't need that, right? And then all of a sudden we get offended, and we're like, this is what I need, and blah, blah, blah. So they separate you from, or isolate you from that family support system, right? Because now they have you all to themselves. Now you're vested 100% into this belief, and they got you, right? And then of course they use quotes from Abrahamic religions, right? Like the Bible. They'll use quotes, the Bible that, and again, people interpret the Bible however they want. And I think the worst type of people are the ones that interpret it for convenience for them, for a gain.
Absolutely.
Right. So they're going to do that. And of course, psychobabble, spiritually talk, right? Spirituality, people, here's the thing. People who don't believe in God or in Christianity, they're going to believe in just spirituality, right? They're going to believe in like the like the Buddhists and things like that, with the red little in your wrist brings you good luck, and the little, and the rocks, the pebbles and whatever. So the psychobabble spirituality talk, and that they fall into it because they're like, well, I'm not really Christian, but that kind of makes sense, and they feed into their weaknesses, that they fall for it. They're like, oh my God, they're like talking to me, like they're talking to your pocketbook is what they're talking to, and you're falling for all their crazy stuff. And this is important because, like, one of that other one, that's another crazy cult, right? It was a female who runs this, and she had a bunch of other females with her. Removed illnesses. So if someone had an illness, they say, have this ailment and blah, blah. That illness goes away, but at least in your head, you think it's gone, right? You still have cancer and it's still eating you up, but in your head, you're like, oh, I feel 100% better. But again, that's because the mind is just so powerful, and you start believing into these things that you truly believe you're getting better, and then clearly you're not, because they are ripping you off yet again. And that's the problem with these, like, so I'm not going to say that all these matchmaking apps are cult like, but the ones we're talking about today, the Twin Flames, definitely is, right? Do they, are they somewhat of a cult? Do they follow some kind? Yeah, they do. They take, so think about it. What's the first thing you do when you go on a dating app? Like when you went to that LGBT one, what's the first thing you did when you filled that out? They ask you about yourself, right? Like what do you like, what don't you like?
Take a personality
right.
quiz or whatever.
Yeah, kind of like see what you're. But here's the problem: a lot of things.
Did I just admit to that or something?
Yeah, you did. You did. No, that's okay. Here's the thing: you're gonna put down things that you think that you like. That doesn't necessarily mean that the person that your match is going to be the same person that likes the things you do. That just doesn't work out sometimes, you know. Now, is there some things that they like that you like? Yeah, absolutely. Or they learn to like because of you? Yes. They'll show an interest, and that's how relationships work. But is there someone that's 100% matched to you? No, absolutely not. No. That's the whole basis of a relationship, is to know each other and try to do things together and create new bonds and create new things to do together as a couple, right? But still having your individuality, still being able to, like, hey, I'm gonna go out with the boys and go shooting, right? Or hey, I'm gonna go out with the girls and have some wine and drink, because women are alcoholics, and go do all those things. So things that make relationships work is that you find things that work together for you as a couple, but then you still keep your individuality of things that you like to do as an individual with other people, like your friends, so these matches, man, I just feel like, yes, are there some that work? They are. There's some people that I met through these relationships, through these matchmakers, or through these apps. Absolutely. They probably had a very strong core belief that was instilled in them as children that made it work. You know what I mean? Right. Not necessarily because the app matched them up. You know, I don't know. What do you think? Am I just psychobabbling myself?
No, that's totally true. You're only going to find on, whether it's an app or whether you go to a bar or you meet somebody at church or a bookstore or on the street.
Those are called prostitutes. The ones on the street.
Yeah, if you have to pay for the date, don't do it. Yeah. If she asks for, $150 up front, I don't know what the going rate is, but
that's a security deposit.
Security. Yeah. You're meeting people. It's a very organic thing. You can't put a bunch of check marks and boxes and answer a bunch of questions. And now there's obviously things, like you said, that we're going to have things in common or not in common, right? So right now, I think to be honest with you, man, a big one, especially for me, is I'm not going to be with anybody that doesn't have faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just won't, because I know that probably won't work out. And that person on the other side, the same thing. So say it's somebody that's hardcore atheist or what have you, they don't want to be with somebody that's
Catholic,
Christian, that's
or Christian,
or Catholic or Christian or whatever. They're not going to want to be with that person. And then same thing with like politics and stuff like that, right? A hardcore lefty is not going to date a hardcore righty. It just ain't going to happen. I mean, those two people are going to.
Now, is there to say that it won't happen? There, I've seen couples that are totally opposites, and they just don't talk politics around each other, which is perfectly fine. Like if if I'm with the person that I love and I truly love them, it's going to go beyond politics. It's going to go beyond certain things. I mean, let's face it. I'm not going to wave my Trump flag all over the house if it offends somebody, but I'm going to have my truck and my car or whatever with my Trump shit on there, right? So, I mean, I get it. Some people don't want to be in that political pool, and again, like you said, it doesn't mean that you can't be a couple. There's workarounds from things like that, and I totally wholeheartedly believe that you are correct. That we have to. I just think that, like you said, you're not going to be 100% match, and I think these matchmaking things are just a quick hookup. What better to find somebody? What better to find someone in their own natural environment? You know what I mean? Like having fun, or being like, hey, if with loves to go out on a weekend or on Tuesdays or on Wednesdays and go have some cocktails at the bar, sit and watch some sports. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Right. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's like something that you could get into or whatnot. But I think that these cults are very, very dangerous, and I think that people need to kind of get away from these these type of hookups, because I think to me it just create, right, we're already living in a society that's full of divorces, right? It's like it's going and changing your socks, after 30 minutes you're like, I need new socks, I've been on them, I've been sweating, it's hot. That's how people are doing with hookups nowadays. Everybody's like, just, I'm getting divorced, not a big deal. And you have, people have to get away from that. And it's unfortunately because of how society, or how we've been indoctrinated in the society today. People feel like it's a multiple choice thing. Like, yeah, this one didn't work, I don't pick another one. And you're creating a bunch of just really like no feelings whatsoever. And I don't know. Just to me, it seems so fake. I don't know. I
Yeah, it is. You have so many different avenues, right, to meet people. It's one of the things I think why I keep going back to it. But church is a great place because you can meet people there. Not to say that you will meet that person at the church you go to, but those church people may say, "Hey, my friend Mark or my girlfriend Linda or whatever, you got to meet them," kind of thing, right? And these people are not going to put somebody in your path that's terrible. Now, not to say that that's going to work out for you, but it's one of those things that you have maybe a little bit better, as friends, right? Think about this, buddy. You and I have been through lots of life together, right? And we've seen each other with folks in our relationship status.
Yeah.
And
we've seen some hoes. Let's just say it, bro. We've seen some hoes in each other's lives.
Was there ever a time, and I'm not going to answer this, you don't have to answer this, but just think about this question that I'm going to pose. Was there ever a time that you saw somebody that I was with and you said, that's not a good one for Jay? And was there ever a time that Jay saw somebody that Joe was with and like, man, I don't know if that's the right decision for Joe?
I'm going to answer that.
I guarantee you both of us would say yes.
Yeah, we have. We actually have.
Yeah.
But
right? So you're
go ahead.
Not that you let your friends or family or anybody in your circle choose who you're with, but really be aware of their caring. They care so much for you that they're going to, hopefully give you an opinion on it. And Joe and I have talked about this before. Why didn't you say anything about that? Well, it's your life, man. You're an adult, that kind of thing. You got to make your own decisions and fall on your face once in a while. And we all do, but
not every time.
Not every time. Us as family and friends and stuff like that, we also have the obligation to love our family members, right? And get in there and say, hey, this is kind of weird. So the reason I use that as an analogy for this is that if you have friends that are on any of these weird websites, and I'm not saying they're all weird, like if somebody's on like Match.com or something like that, and it's a straight ahead website, and you found you knew your cousin found a match or something, they're married now, good for them, good for you, go for it. But be very wary. There are so many sites out there and things, and like Joe said, there's over 10,000 different kind of culty kind of things out there. Be really careful and be very vigilant for your family members, because that old saying, love is blind, it's happened to everybody. You jump in the middle of it and you're blinded by whatever it is in the relationship that has started to create. And how many times have we heard this story, right? That there's somebody, especially here in the United States, some guy, right, that maybe makes decent money or what have you, is kind of nerdy, again, keeps to himself and all that kind of thing, gets on one of these websites and finds some girl overseas. And they say, hey, just send me X amount of money, buy me a plane ticket, blah, 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 and I'm going to come over and see you. How many times has that story went south?
Oh, yeah. Well,
over and over, man. Money, like Western Union payments, gone and gone, So these are things to be aware of and know that if your family or friends or whatever, somebody that, that's been single for a long time or what have you, and just check in on them. It's like anything else, we need to be more cognizant of all of this kind of stuff nowadays, because people, again, I'm a broken record on the whole COVID thing. It has changed the world. It has made people more depressed because of, things that happen. And all of this stems back from all the way back from like 9/11, when they started taking away a lot of our freedoms, throughout the world, quite honestly. based on, terrorism and stuff like that. And I believe still to this day, the TSA has not caught anybody trying to bring a bomb on. And people say, well, that's the whole purpose of it. Well, yep, it's a lot of money and a lot of freedom taken away to do a lot of nothing. So
I've had so much thrown away because of them. I am very irritated. That's not 4.5 ounces. I'm like, you son. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm like, whatever. I'm like, you know what? All I need to do is blow a little hole, and that's all you need. So 4.5 ounces, come on, or 5 ounces, or just let me get in with the damn thing with it, But no, I've seen my toothpaste. I've seen my just so. I'm like,
kinds of stuff.
I hate you.
That's why I put everything in my check-in bag and my carry-on. I just have a few things in it, keep an extra.
Wherever I go, I just buy my toiletries there. I'm over it.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I'm just like whatever. But here's the thing. So again, we live in a society nowadays where everything is just so questionable because of the isolation that's occurred. People are less confident in themselves. People now look to these kind of matchmakers because they do all the work for you. You don't really have to go out there and do anything. Dangerous in itself. I think people need to go out there and know exactly what they're getting involved. They got to meet people in their natural environment, get out there and meet people and talk to them and see what they have to offer and vice versa. It's important. Like earlier you were talking about not everybody's going to be a match and things like that because of certain things. Like my daughter, her boyfriend, like he's totally conservative. My daughter's semi-conservative, leaning more to a little bit left. But they have a great relationship, and she just listens to him. And of course dad's over here totally conservative, so she gets it from both ends, you know what I mean?
Right.
And on top of it, she's a Cowboys fan, he's a Jets fan, so I mean it's like a house divided in there.
Oh boy.
Yeah, bro. And so but they get along. They make it work. They and it wasn't through a dating app. They knew each other, they met each other, and they know their environment, and they do things that he does things that she likes to do, and then she does things that he likes to do, and like he the other day she sent me a picture of her in a cigar bar. My daughter doesn't smoke, but he likes to, so she went with him, right? And now she's trying to get me to go over there and they want to take me to go enjoy this nice little cigar bar, which I'm really down to do. The point is
road trip.
But the point is you have to be able to do things for the other person. I mean, that's what a relationship is about, right? It's give and take, give and take. Sometimes you're giving more than you're taking, but that's okay. The problem with these so-called perfect matchmakers is that they're specifically looking for algorithms that are going to make you a match, and that's never such a good idea. When you put two alpha males together, or an alpha male and an alpha female, it's not a good combination. Sometimes you're gonna fight. Someone's always going to want to be on top, and not in the good way either. So it's very complicated. Get it right, and that's why I don't think relationships were intended to be matched up by a computer system or by algorithms or by a check mark or by a questionnaire or anything like that. I mean, jobs maybe, but a relationship, nah. People should get out there and meet people in natural environments, right? Don't be looking through gates and stuff like that. I mean, go meet people, talk to them. Don't when you're sitting in a van with binoculars, that's kind of creepy. You don't want to be that guy. You want to you want to be able to get off the van and go talk to somebody and say, hey, and maybe get rid of the van. Maybe buy like a car with a lot of windows where you could through and not be a creeper. But I'm just saying. But there we have to be careful about these kind of cult-like things. You guys, important that after COVID that people need to work on themselves a little bit, build up their self-esteem. Know that you're good enough for anybody, especially for yourself. That mentality where people have to tell you like, oh no, don't get that false sense of security from people. Build it on your own, because that way you don't have to depend on someone to build it for you. All they do after you meet someone that's good for you, they're just going to add to it. They're not going to give you, they're going to add to it. So, man, just know what you like and be firm on what you believe in, and don't let these crazy. I do recommend watch this documentary, Skin Flames. You guys learn a little bit more about this, but stay away from that stuff, man. And just be happy, live happy.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the deal down below for the Netflix documentary Escaping Twin Flames.
And remember, guys, and then Jay will put something on there about, some hotlines. Because if any of you guys out there feel depressed or any way like that, and again, that's a big thing nowadays because of the COVID and the lockdowns. If you guys ever feel alone, depressed, or you feel like you're the only one going through this, trust you me, there's thousands of you out there that feel the same way, man. It was a hard period of time for all of us. Whether you're left or you're right, it doesn't really matter. We all had to go through it. So, and people in general hand differently. So
that's right.
These numbers, man, there's always options. You're never ever in a position where you can't get out of, bro. Let me tell you that right now.
Right.
So
yeah, absolutely. And we've got coming up in a couple weeks here a men's edition episode. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about some, things that are going on in the world and just some examples of why it's so important for us to stay connected. I'll leave everybody kind of with this. So there's some statistics on divorce rates that are out there. And so I want you to listen to them and open your mind up to why, divorces and things like that happen. So the divorce rate between men and women currently is at 42%. Women and women, so I mean two women that got married, right? 72%. So heterosexual relationship, 42%. Two women get married, 72%. Between men that get married, 28%. So you can kind of start to see who's normally more unhappy in relationships, right? And the thing is, women initiate divorce more often than men, with studies estimating that around 70% of divorces are initiated by women. This is especially true amongst college-educated women, where the number jumps to 90%. So, having that education, having all those smarts and all that kind of stuff, and these online dating things where you are relying on them giving you the scoop on what's going to be the best guy for you.
Yeah.
It's probably not the best way to go. Right. Again, I'm not saying I know people that have been married for a long time, met through a dating app. God bless them. But just know that you need to sniff out who's the right person for you. Dogs, not cats. Dogs are really good at seeing who's, a good person. I mean, a lot of times, as long as it's not a pain in the butt dog, they know if somebody's good or not. Also, your friends. If somebody comes over and they're like, wow, he's cute or nice or whatever, funny, but if all the friends start saying, that guy is kind of weird and creepy and stuff like that, there's good signals there. So you guys make sure that you check us out every Tuesday. We've got a new episode coming up next Tuesday and every Tuesday after that. And we've had them for well over a year now. So we've got a big back catalog. Definitely check that out. You can find out all of our social media channels at Linktree/Joe and Jay Outspoken. Well, everybody, take care of one another.
Remember, do better, be better.
And as always,
God bless
America.
We'll see you again.
See you next Tuesday.